Hey everybody, and welcome to AfterBuzz TV. This is Survivor Season 37, Episode 2. The chicken has flown the coop. It's only season Episode 2, and we already have a blindside. So that's just a little bit of what's to come for this episode. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome everybody. AfterBuzz TV.
What's up, guys?
Survivor 37, Episode 2. Oh my gosh. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Happiest day of the week.
Happiest day of the week, and we're so happy to be joined again by Timothy.
I'm very excited to be back. Veronica, welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
I didn't get to tell you last week, but yes, welcome to the panel. You guys, I missed you. I missed you.
We
I
missed
missed you, even though you're new, but I missed you.
We missed you too. We gave you a shot last week, so everybody knew that you were coming back because, you know, you got those fans in the live chat.
I mean, I love my fans.
But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Paige Bonanno, and my wonderful panel for the night.
Hey guys, I'm Veronica Valencia. What's up?
Guys, I am Timothy Michael, and it is October 3rd, which means it's Mean Girls Day, and on Wednesdays we wear pink.
Hey, you guys are so prepared. Perfect. We love it. You guys, thanks for joining. Every week we love to have you here. Thanks for joining us on the live chat. Make sure to give us a like, subscribe, let us know how we're doing on our channel, and we're so excited to start tonight.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts, you guys. How did you think this episode went?
I'm actually really excited that the votes turned out the way they did.
Yes.
Because if we looked at last season, Gonzalez was the first to go home, and she was also Puerto Rican. So I was going to say, if they sent two Puerto Rican people home on the first vote of this season and last season, I'd be really, really mad. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised on how the votes turned out.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed at how they're treating this whole weather scenario, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Okay, yes. I actually have some things I wanted to say about that as well. But what about you?
I agree. I have to agree with you, Timothy. I love how the votes turned out this episode. I am so happy that the show changes so frequently, and it can be one person 1 minute and then another person the next. I'm very happy that, you know, who was supposed to go home didn't, so.
Oh, yeah. I'm very happy with how the votes went because someone was getting a little cocky at the end. For those of you that may not have watched and are tuning in to find out who went home, it was Jessica. She went home tonight.
Yay.
Not mad about it.
Not mad about it at all.
But we will get into, you know, the whole situation and how this happened. Anything else before we just dive right in?
I actually, since I wasn't here last week, I just want to give a brief recap about how much I actually like this season. I know that we were a little underwhelmed when we talked about it last season. And when they announced this new season, and I really like this season.
Yeah.
I'm really attracted to these people. I know we're gonna have a debate about the names later on, but I like this season. I'm into it.
Yeah, I mean, we had talked about this a little bit earlier, but as you guys know, I hated the theme until last week when we finally saw the episode. And, like, Timothy would give me a bunch of shit for it because I thought it was just the worst name ever. And, Veronica, what name did you say that it should be called? Because I agree with that.
Top dog versus underdog.
I do like that
hello,
name.
That's so much better.
It's a lot better. But I'm still not mad at David vs. Goliath.
David vs. Goliath is the worst name. I'm sorry. And it's not really, I mean, it is indicative of like, what this season's about, but that's perfect.
That is perfect.
It's the exact same thing.
And it's so much, like, it just rolls off the tongue better. It's more attractive to say. I just like it a lot better. Even in their promos for CBS, I was saying the other day, there's, like, marketing it as the weak versus the strong, which isn't really the case, because I feel like they're not using the name. And it's just, I don't know. I think that Veronica is a great name for
Kudos
it.
to Veronica. Survivor producers.
Yeah, let's just change it midway through. It's no big deal. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys are liking the season, and hopefully you guys are as well. So first, you know, we had talked a little bit about the weather situation being terrible. So when we kind of go in on the first day, you know, first of all, Pat went home. It's still like a morale's gone.
Lowered,
and also because the rain. It's literally and figuratively raining for the David tribe. It's terrible. People are shivering. Like, what's going through your guys' mind at this point? Like, I feel like they didn't give them the tarps until day 4. That's 4 days and 4 nights of a cyclone, like straight up rain. They can't get fires going. I think they should have given the tarps and stuff a little bit earlier, actually. And I know you're probably the total opposite of me.
I thought you were going to be on the same page as me, so I'm a little surprised.
For me, I think I would have, like, not like I really would have, but I'm miserable when I'm cold, wet, anything like that. Like, and especially to the point where that's 4 days of you not being able to warm up. Like, if I can't warm up for a little bit, like, I'm already just, like, mean and annoyed and like just like total like a total biatch. But like I feel like after going through that for 4 days, I might have called it quits at this point. Like I'm going home.
Yeah.
Like
I am so curious at what is bad weather. Like what the producing team considers bad weather to give them
a 4-day cyclone.
A 4-day, like to give them a tarp. Or I know in like one of the seasons they had to evacuate them because there was very bad weather. So it's like, at what point does it just become too much? Or as you were saying, Paige, like they're not getting evacuated. It's just giving a little extra help where it's needed.
A tarp and like some fire.
Here's my thing. So last episode, when Pat got evacuated, he gave the losing tribe Flint, which the winning tribe had just won. Now, I thought that was a cop-out, because if you just won Flint, then what does this tribe get Flint just because somebody got medically evacuated?
I don't think it was just because of that, though. It was also because of these
right.
elements.
And I understand that, but I still don't agree with the fact that even though there's like all of this stuff going on, that they just give them all of this stuff. Like, hey, here's a fire-making kit. Hey, here's some tarp and some things to make your shelter better. It's Survivor. You know what you're getting into. Yes, now a cyclone, granted, this is my feelings before I found out that it was a cyclone, but still, regardless, I feel like it was a cop-out. I do. I just feel like it was a cop-out.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, had they gone to tribal council, normally after they go to tribal council, Jeff always gives them a Flint for fire. Granted, that didn't happen because Pat was medically evacuated, but maybe they still stuck to that practice of giving them the Flint after someone was gone.
They always give them the
I just feel like they're
normally,
just giving things away this season, and it's kind of pissing me off.
Okay, I understand that. Like, I can relate to that, and I think it's a valid point. But I also feel like we're not in this weather situation. Like, literally put yourself in this situation. 4 days and 4 nights of brutal cold, rain, wind, cyclone. Like, you have nothing.
Yeah.
And this is the beginning of the game. That's tough. For other seasons, these people come out, it's beautiful, sunny, they're swimming, like having a good time. Like, I think that it gets to a point where you have to kind of give them something.
No, and I was going to say, I mean, I'm sitting here in a studio in beautiful Los Angeles weather,
Yeah.
and I can sit here and throw a lot of shade toward the show for giving them all this stuff. But if I was in that position, I'd be like, give me a damn tarp. Like, right now, I need something.
Yeah.
A sweater, anything, an umbrella. I don't care what you give me, just give me something. So yes, I can relate.
Yeah.
But I just feel like as a viewer of the show, there have been elements that other groups and other seasons have survived where they didn't really give them much.
It's like when people are watching football and they're like, just do this better. And it's like, well, you're not the quarterback. Like, you know, as we're watching as viewers, we're like, we want you to suffer. You know what I mean? Even though we're not in the situation. So I totally understand that. We want to see them fight for it, and we want to see them go through this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
see, I don't know. I almost feel like it's kind of the opposite. In the last couple of seasons, I feel like I haven't really seen them just giving things away. I feel like the team is making it harder as the seasons go on, because now it's, the game is evolving, so it's not just about the social element. It's also about, being able to actually survive the elements of the land and everything. So I feel like they're making it harder for them at this point.
How? By giving them stuff to survive the elements. I mean, it's Survivor. You go there, you know you have to use
they don't know what the weather's going to be
to
like going into it. They start filming on this day, and no matter what the weather is, that's what they're doing. So
I don't know. I guess we could just agree to disagree.
Well, yeah, but wait, what do you mean they're making it harder by giving the things? Or you mean...
I mean they're making it harder in the sense that, Paige, you were saying they should have given them a tarp. The fact that they're not, they're making it harder.
Oh, oh, yeah, that they didn't give it to them until 4 days in.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
But usually they have to win a challenge to get the tarp.
Right, but 4 days in?
I don't know,
I agree
guys.
with you, Veronica.
If it was rain, if it was just rain, whatevers. But again,
agree,
what it was. Yeah.
Agree to disagree, you guys. You know.
Should they have been given a tarp? Let us know.
I mean, what do you guys think in the live chat? Has anybody said anything if they think that it should have been given earlier?
So far, nothing about the tarp.
Okay, well.
However,
I guess the tarp isn't that.
However, Royal15 in the chat is saying this was the first season it rained since Millennials versus Gen X.
Millennials versus Gen X was really bad I remember it being really bad for a while. But we saw these people, there was like 5 of them huddled together line by line because it seemed that cold. Like I'm out of there at that point. Maybe this is why I'm not on Survivor. Anyways, another thing that was a little bit of, we had some people going back about this from the last episode was, Nick at the beginning was saying, every day is a blessing out here because he knows that he was the one that would have gone home last week. And we saw, he kind of had like a little breakdown where he talked about his mom and this and that. And a lot of people, there's been a lot of like people saying that they thought he was faking it, or that, it seemed like, who was the player that they were talking about?
Johnny Fairplay?
Yeah, like Fairplay. People were saying that he's fair playing it and making it fake? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you think his story was real?
I think so, just because initially I didn't get that sense that he was fair playing. I'm like, we're all very aware of what he did back in season 7, but I initially just didn't think. I thought he was being, I do believe he was being genuine. I think that maybe a part of him felt like he had to do it when he had to do it.
Yeah.
Like he didn't get the best timing.
I think he might just be, I think he was genuine about it. I think he maybe just might be like a dramatic / ugly crier. Like, I think that was just, because when he was saying it, I was like, oh, this seems a little fake and forced. But then, like, when I'm really listening to him, I'm like, I think he's genuine. I think it's just, like, people cry differently.
I mean, I half agree with you guys. When I saw the episode, I texted Paige and I was like, oh, do we believe this guy? Because I initially thought that he was lying.
Yeah.
And then I saw his camera interview with the producers, and he was still like teary-eyed and tearing up about it. And I was like, okay, now I kind of believe you. But in that moment, I was like, you're totally lying, dude.
Yeah, I think the way that they cut it, it just kind of like, it seemed a little bit fake.
I hope he's not making that up.
And I actually thought that last week,
serious.
but I didn't really bring it up because I didn't want to seem insensitive, because I didn't really know what the reaction would be. And then hearing the reaction from people all week about how they thought he was maybe fair playing it, I was like, oh, I don't know. But moving a little bit out of the Davids and into the Goliaths. So first, like, our first power couple relationship, Kara and Dan, we talked about a little bit last week. And we kind of said, don't freaking do a showmance. No matter what you do, don't do it. And the thing is, though, is now everybody's coming forward and being like, hey, you guys are way too into this. A lot of them think that Kara's playing Dan, which I don't think. What do you guys think about their relationship? Do you think that Kara's playing Dan, or do you think that they need to just call it quits right now?
Initially, I don't think she was playing him. I think that he is way more invested in her than she is in him. I think maybe now that she's aware, since people are coming up to her and saying, oh, we think you're playing him, maybe she will kind of use it to her advantage, like kind of Parvati it up in that sense. But at first, I don't think that was her initial plan, but I do appreciate that she's like, nope, done, nipping it in the bud. I want to play Survivor.
I agree with you. I think that she wasn't initially playing him, and then when Angelina and Natalie, or Natalia, went up to her and was like, hey, we can do this. And she's like, oh, yeah, I have Dan in my pocket. So then it became like a manipulating thing. But I genuinely feel like she does like him a lot. I mean, you can tell by the on-camera interviews.
Right.
And speaking of which, Natalie was the only one who went up to her and was like, you guys need to chill.
Yeah.
So Natalie was literally the only one.
She was very open with her about how they needed to chill out.
Right.
But, I mean, Kara was... Right away, she was like, okay, we need to keep this under wraps. He's like, what? And she's like, you and I. So I'm like, are they, like, legitimately a couple at this point? Because he said that, he's like, I'm so glad I have Kara sleeping next to me every night. Like, what's happening?
I think he's just caught up in some jungle love.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jungle.
I mean, it's 4 days on an island, you guys.
Yeah, that's true. But Dan, obviously, as we know, has the idol. And Kara was telling him, don't keep it out in the open. Like, be smart about this. And he has it wrapped up in a sock in his jacket. And then... lo and behold, Jeremy goes through his stuff, and he finds that Dan has the idol. So my question to you guys is, first I thought Jeremy was going to go steal the idol. Has that ever happened? I'm not sure. Can you do it? I'm not really sure. But, I mean, would you guys potentially steal it? Or are you just seeking information?
See,
and can you steal it? Can you steal it?
I don't even know if you can steal it. And I don't think that you can.
It's fair play.
I don't think that you can if it's in your possession. You found it. But I'm going to go back on what Mike...
But who's to judge that?
I don't know. I guess the producers, but I'm going to go back with what Mike had to say. He said, having information is more important than the actual idol itself. And I completely 100% agree. You could use that to your advantage, and you can play that in different ways rather than just having an idol in your pocket. Because we've seen it several times. People go home with idols in their pocket all the time. So an idol really isn't that valuable unless you know how to use it correctly.
Well, I agree. And also... what could happen is that Dan could just be like, all right, like if he would have stolen it, all right, guys, I had an idol, like I need to know which one you stole it, and then the target is put instantly on Jeremy because then people find out that he's a stealer. He steals things.
But it also goes back on Dan because Dan is calling him out and causing a scene, whereas if I was Dan and somebody stole my idol, I would be
what would you do?
I would just keep, I probably wouldn't say a damn thing.
But what are you supposed to do?
Because if somebody knows that I have the idol, then they know that that's a target on my back as well.
But that next person isn't going to be as dumb as he is about keeping it in his sock.
Royal15 in the chat says, you can't steal idols, but you can blackmail them for having it.
Right.
Was that ever specifically said? I feel like it might just be common knowledge, because to your point, Timothy, like if it's in your possession and you take it, like first of all, I didn't really think you could go through personal possessions on the show. But
I think you can do whatever you want. It's fair game.
I've seen people go through their stuff before. and nobody said anything about it.
Well, what could happen is maybe if he was going to go steal it, the producers are like, hey, you're not allowed to steal it. But,
Right.
you know, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean, I do agree that just having the information about him having an idol is the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with blackmailing. If you want to blackmail somebody about having an idol, but you know about the idol, information is more important.
If stealing was allowed, would you guys, if you were in Jeremy's situation, would you have stolen the idol or would you have just left it there?
I would have stole it.
You would have?
Oh, I would have stolen it.
I would have kept the information.
I
and
didn't
used it
expect
to my
you to say that.
advantage.
Yeah, I would have stolen it.
What?
Yeah.
You were the one that was just saying
I would
that.
have stole it. Because, well, I wouldn't have told anybody that I stole it. He would have just been around like, who stole the idol? I'd be like, I don't know.
That is true.
And then what if your closest alliance comes to you and said, do you know who stole the idol?
And I'd be like, no. I mean, I'm really good at keeping my mouth shut. And if we've seen anything on this show, it's people get caught because they don't know how to keep their mouth shut.
Because they tell somebody and that person tells somebody.
So I would definitely keep my mouth shut and I would only play the idol. And if anything, I would just wait until like a week or 2 weeks later and then be like, you know what? I found an idol, you guys. And then present, you know, what I had.
No, because if one idol is in play, somebody obviously has an idol. There's not another idol until that idol gets played.
Right. But I mean, I would wait. I would wait with the idol, but I definitely
But then you're going to be pegged as a liar forever, and people are going to be pissed. Like, if they find out, oh, that you didn't tell them that?
I think that I would, no, I totally...
Or you think they would respect it?
I think that I would still steal it. I think that I would wait for a given time in order to cover my tracks about it.
That's
I wouldn't
playing the
just
game.
steal it and then play it like the next tribe.
How are you going to cover your tracks?
I don't know, Paige. It would depend on the
There's no-
circumstances. I'm not sure.
I don't think you could cover
I
your
could
tracks.
be like, oh, I found it, you know, under a thing like they've done in other seasons of Survivor. I found it during an immunity challenge. I found a note, blah, blah, blah. Oh, where's the note? Oh, I got rid of it. I would say something.
You got rid of the note. Nobody gets rid of the note.
Then,
and people know that.
But here's the thing. At the end of the day, it would just be he said versus he said. And he said, I stole it. I'd be like, I didn't steal it.
How about this? This is not, I don't even
Until
know
you
if this
play
would
it.
be a happy medium, but both James and Thomas in the chat are both saying they would have. Oh no, sorry. James is saying he would have stolen it. Excuse me. Thomas said they would have stolen it. James is saying would have destroyed it.
Oh, well.
Wait.
So you'd rather have nobody have it than
Nobody have it.
you have it?
But the thing is another idol can't get into play until that one has been used. Or
Right,
that
but then you
person's
could
gone home.
also wait for, I don't know, a merge or a swap or something. Things happen, Paige. You know this. So you could literally be swapped next week, and now I'm not on a tribe with Dan, and then all of a sudden
You
I'm
still
like,
have your
hey guys,
alliances."
I have my Yeah, but what if I'm swapped and then I don't have my alliances anymore? But I still have that idol. If we're swapped, Dan doesn't have his
Okay,
idol.
all
Then he
I'm
can think that I stole
saying
it, but I
is that
got
you're
it.
not getting rid of that paper because if you get rid of that paper, if you get rid of that paper, you're automatically screwed because people either think it's a fake idol because you keep that damn paper.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying there are other circumstances, extenuating circumstances, that we can't talk about, Paige, because I don't know what could happen, but I definitely would steal it and cover my tracks to make it look like I didn't steal it.
All right.
That's what I would do.
Moving on.
It's only episode 2, you guys, and me and Paige are already going at it.
Oh, you
Wow.
haven't even seen it yet.
I love you, though.
I love you too, but we're totally we have different opinions. I would not steal it, is all I'm saying. And you wouldn't steal it?
I wouldn't steal it.
All right. Good to know. Good to know. Now we know who the sneaky ones are of the panel.
Now you know who to watch out for, huh?
Right? Okay, moving on. Still speaking of idols, Davey finds an idol.
Yes.
He's so sweet. He's barely even really looking for it. He's kind of just like, oh, you know, if something happens, it happens. And I think he was very subtle about it. And he is, I really like Davey. He's really piquing my interest right now.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that he found the idol. I think he has a good story. And you were saying, Veronica, that you felt like they were making the idols a little less apparent, or maybe
They were.
That was Veronica,
Yes.
because they seem so. Before they were so
Ugly.
elaborate. Yeah.
They're ugly, just to be quite frank. Like,
Desiree Simone in the chat also agrees with you. So.
yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week, Paige, and how the idols look so ugly and look like they were made by someone to trick someone. But I almost like that now because I feel like maybe the producers are catching on to allow more trickery. Because if they present this at Tribal and Jeff goes, "This is a hidden immunity idol," people will be like, "I can make that and trick everyone." So I feel like if that's what they're going for, then that will make things so interesting this season.
And I also think it's, I hear your point, and I actually think that it's working, because when what's his name? Jeremy found the idol in Dan's pocket. He was like, "Is it real?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Well, it's got the paper on it."
The paper!
Yes.
It has the paper!
So yes, it looks fake, but if you got that paper, it's like the
I agree, because last week
authentication.
when we looked at it, I was like, oh, I mean, I guess Survivor's budget's going down. Like, they can't make real idols anymore. But, like, I didn't even think of the fact that, they're probably doing this on purpose to allow trickery to happen.
But I also think they're making them smaller like that so that they could hide them easier, too.
True. I mean, the way that they hit it was pretty elaborate this time. It was like something kind of was behind the tree, but then there was like a string tied all the way under.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love that he found it and he wasn't even looking for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that was nice.
And nobody was looking for him because it seemed like he was just collecting things and doing his normal business.
Looking for
like,
food and hunting lizards.
Yeah, right. Yeah, slap that. But I wanted to talk a little bit too about Lursa because people are saying that she's the
Larissa.
Lursa.
Like Larissa, but Larissa.
Larissa.
Larissa's how you say it.
Larissa.
It's they say they're just
They say
There's
Larissa. Jeff says Larissa, like Marissa, but without
Larissa.
the
Yeah.
Larissa.
Yeah, but it's spelled differently. But
All
it's
right, so Larissa.
Yes.
People are saying that she's the weakest female, and you had both said absolutely not. She's not the weakest female. She won the first challenge, and my question is she the weakest female, or are they maybe seeing this perception of the first episode when the other tribe dubbed her the weakest player?
I think that that's a total BS kind of reasoning if that's what they're going off of, because even if the other tribe did peg her as the weakest female, then she completely proved them wrong by exceeding in the challenge that they told her to do and didn't think that she would succeed in, and then she succeeded. So
And what makes them think that she was the weakest? In the first immunity challenge, I don't remember her doing anything bad. In this one, like, maybe she put the puzzle piece on the wrong way for a second, but B was the one that kind of
made it
had them behind. Yeah.
Right. Because she couldn't climb up the ladder, which
Right. I don't think Lursa's the weakest. I think that she's very smart, and I think that she might, do okay in this. But,
yeah, I'm just glad that she kind of made it known to the producers. Like, why would they say that I'm the weakest link when I won the first challenge?
Right,
Because that's
yeah.
literally what we were all thinking. I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
how is that possible? I don't know why they think that she's the weakest link.
Like, she
I have
knows
no
what
idea.
BS that was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
have no
totally
idea.
agree. And still talking about the females, our strong females for a second. Natalie, okay. First of all, she has no perception of the way that she acts.
No self-awareness.
No self-awareness,
No.
just as Jeremy was saying.
Yes.
Doesn't know how she treats people. And basically, she's saying right now that her gameplay is to just get along with everybody. But what's that about? Like, she's the one sitting there while everybody else is working, being bossy as hell.
I mean,
What are your guys' thoughts on
I
Natalie?
think Jeremy's has it spot on that she doesn't have a very good awareness of self. And I feel like what she's saying is contradictory to everything that she's doing.
Yeah.
But I also like Natalie because she tells it like it is. Like, she went up to Mike and told him, hey, when you're looking for the idol, it looks sketchy. She told him that. Then she went up to Kira and was like, hey, you need to chill. So she does genuinely care about
Yeah.
this. Like, she's trying to get along with people. I just think that her work ethic
Yeah.
isn't there, and her bossing people around.
Her
to-
execution isn't right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Her execution is not right. I think she is hanging on by a thread here. Like, I feel the only reason she feels safe is because Goliath keeps winning.
Yeah.
If they hadn't won for sure, I believe she would have been going home tonight. And then, of course, as the show changes every week, she could very well be finding herself in a good place
Yeah.
next episode, and she could go
all the way.
super far. Yeah.
Timothy, I agree with you though. Like, I feel like she's not executing any of this right because I like how she's a strong female. She tells it like it is. Like, I can respect somebody that's, honest and true to you, like, in that way. But she won't take any sort of constructive criticism or any type of feedback. She shuts it down and she automatically thinks she's right. And I can't stand a person that thinks that they're always right and won't, listen to other people. Obviously, these people are seeing you come across this way.
Yeah.
And Jeremy said, you think that an idea is an action. And I believe that's totally true because
Yes.
she's saying, hey guys, we need to do X, Y, and Z. But then she's sitting there and watching it, which that's fine. If she thinks an idea is an action, okay, we'll at least admit it. And then, like, you can say that this is my strength and maybe we can work this way. But she automatically shuts it down and won't listen to it.
And you don't know, maybe maybe in a future episode, maybe next week, she might, have a little bit of self-reflection and be like, oh, well, I think that you were right. Things could change. We see it all the time, like Veronica was saying. It changes week to week. What I don't like was how she reacted to the entire thing and how she was threatening everybody.
And Jeremy was being so nice to her, trying to tell her.
Trying to be helpful.
Yeah, and then her saying, oh, I'm going to drop some Natalie napalm and all this stuff. I was like, I don't, why is that necessary?
And she wouldn't even know anything if John hadn't gone up to her and told her.
I like that he did that, too.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I really wonder how genuinely safe she feels. I wonder if it's just the fact that Goliath is winning that she feels safe, or if maybe she thinks, oh, this showman's is totally going to get in the way, and it's not going to be me going home.
Yeah, I think that people are genuinely just making her feel like, she's being very bossy with them, but they're just kind of sweeping it to the side to her face. And I think that she feels very safe because of the relationship she feels like she's built, but people aren't responding to her the way that she thinks.
Yes. I also don't like how she used the old lady card when she was like, I'm almost 60, I'm 57 years old. I'm like, girl, we've seen people on this show who are older than you or the same age as you and that have prevailed.
She was trying to get the target off her back, but it doesn't work that way to be like, oh, I'm not going to win because X, Y, and Z. If you didn't think you were going to win, you wouldn't
Why are you on the show?
Why are you on the show?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And to dumb yourself down, like, I don't care what position you're in, don't dumb yourself, at least not this early in the game. When it's like down to 4 or 5 people, be like, I'll never win.
Right.
But like, when it's this early, like, come on.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. Let us know what you guys think in the live chat about Natalie, how she is. Speaking of Natalie, and moving into immunities, she sits out. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say a couple of people are talking about Natalie in the chat. Natalie doesn't take any attitude. I appreciate Natalie's frankness. I just don't think she is playing a smart game.
Right.
So a lot of, and then another one, Natalie is a strong person in her career, and I respect that. However, you haven't done anything on the island to deserve to have this much attitude.
Damn, that's true.
It is true. That's another thing that always comes into play, is that people feel so strong in their specific fields that they take that learning experience to the island, and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely. I do like, too, how Jeremy threw it in there, like, well, she's been married for 26 years. You know that her husband, she's not taking shit from her husband at all.
Yeah.
But we see that she sits out in the immunity challenge right away. That was kind of like, why would you do that?
Why wouldn't you try and prove yourself?
Thank you.
She doesn't try to, like, exert herself at all in any type of physical way.
But this wasn't even a physically exertive challenge.
Right.
Like, it wasn't even that physical of a challenge. You could have easily done this. And if you keep in mind, next challenge might be even more physical.
And you better be in there.
And you can't sit out. Because you can't sit out twice in a row. So hopefully the next challenge isn't as physical, and then she can't prove herself, and then the target is just right back on her back because everybody's going to look at you as a weak link.
Right. You got to participate.
She should have participated. I completely disagree that she sat out.
Yeah, I agree with that too. The Davids were very far behind, but we thought that they might be able to make a comeback because it's not just about doing the puzzle, but it's about balancing it. And Survivor fans, we all know that the balancing act is tough, and you can get out of it at any second.
I don't mind balancing challenges. I feel like I've seen this particular challenge before where they have to balance and be steady with the rope. And I've just watching that. Granted, luckily we don't have to sit there for an hour and generally try and see them do this, but I feel like it frustrates me. I'm not the most fond of that particular challenge.
Yeah.
Overall, it was great.
I can't believe it was an hour though. I can't remember the last time they had such a long challenge and then like I said, episode 2, like for an immunity challenge to last for an hour, like they're pulling out all the stops, which gives me a lot of hope for the rest of the season because I'm like, oh, I hope that they have harder challenges this entire season.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give me hope for the poor Davids because...
Right. Oh, my God.
Ugh.
What was the deal with Kara being like, oh, I'd be willing to help out the tribe? Like, you are on a tribe and you should be willing to help them out. Like, what was with the heroic action like that?
I think she was overcompensating for the showman.
Like, yes, I'd definitely be willing. But just the way that she said it, I was like, girl, it's okay. You know, you're all part of a team.
I completely agree with Veronica because she was overcompensated for the showmans, but I also think because it's so early, everybody wants to prove that they're not the weakest link.
Yes.
And it's like you're like very eager to just prove yourself. You're like, I want it. I can do it. I got it.
Yeah, right.
Like, so,
and I kind of feel like that afterwards when the Davids had lost and they were talking about it, you know, B, in my eyes, was kind of the one that slowed them down very much from the start with the ladder thing. By the time that the Goliaths were already there and back, she was just finishing that. And then she was kind of the one saying, everybody was, you know, talking about the challenge. She was like, well, you guys, it's about the technique. It's not about this. Like, in my sport, we do this. And basically saying that, I don't know. I don't really feel like she took any responsibility for that.
I disagree.
Okay.
I love B's story. I love where she's come from.
What's her-
I love that.
what-
Well, she was in an abusive relationship.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
she was
we- yeah,
homeless
we
by
heard
she
that.
was by the time she was 22, and now she's like an MMA fighter, and
Good
she
for
teaches
her.
like
Yeah.
self-defense classes. I love her. I genuinely do love her. I agree with her statement. I feel like everybody's sitting there going, "Oh, it's unfair. There's so much
Davids
bigger
are-
than
or, yeah, the
us." Blah,
glass
blah,
is
blah.
big.
I'm like, we have seen people time and time again on Survivor seasons who have been the underdogs and they have won.
No, I totally agree with that. I'm not taking away from the fact that it is about technique. It 100% is.
Yeah.
But I felt like she was kind of using that as like, oh, maybe, I don't know how the edit was, but, using that more than saying like, hey, I was a little behind, but just like, we can't only look at it this way. It has to be about technique, and hopefully we can do better next week as a team. I don't know.
I was. Oh.
Good, no go.
I was just gonna say I was a little disappointed because last week I had mentioned how B was one of my standouts for the season in the first episode. Like I really enjoyed her. Like you were saying, Timothy, I really respect her
great
story.
hair.
Yeah, great hair. Like how do you look? Like
Great eyebrows too.
how do you
great
look
on the
good
island.
on
Great.
this island 6 days in? But I really liked her, and I was disappointed that she did put the David tribe behind in the challenge, because normally when that happens, if they end up going to tribal, they send that person home.
Right, so, yeah.
But not only that, I was also disappointed because in the potential that she might go home, but then I was even more disappointed just because of the situation and the alliance she found herself in.
I respect her even more for sticking up and saying what she said, because when somebody's sitting there going, it's unfair, and everybody's like, yeah, it is unfair, it's easy for people to just jump on the bandwagon and be like, it is unfair, like blah, blah, blah. But instead, B was like, you guys, it's not about that. Like, it's
Right.
about this. So I look at it like that, and I
Yeah.
respect her for having a different opinion and actually voicing it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And we see, like, on the other hand, Gabby kind of sitting there saying, "Ugh, it just sucks. It just sucks." And like I feel like she's been very whiny up until this point, and she kind of was talking to her tribe mates after saying, "Do you think that they're gonna vote me out? I mean, what can I do?" Like, just like so, it's like
You mean her conversation with Christian?
her conversation with Christian.
That, oh my gosh, I found that hysterical. I'm sure it was meant to be more serious, but I found it hysterical just because she was sitting there all wrapped up in a little ball, and it was like she was talking to her significant other. Do you think she's prettier than me?
Yeah, like
I was like, girl.
yeah, I felt she was very like whiny in the situation, and I mean, granted, she was trying to figure out what was happening, but instead of being like X, Y, and Z is why you need to keep me here, it was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I do like Gabby, though. I think that she is actually going to go far in this game. If she can get with the right alliance. I feel like they're going to pick her off really quick if she does.
I agree. And I think she's very smart.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she can be, I mean, granted, everyone's paranoid when they think that they're going to be voted off, but I think if she can kind of do what Larissa did in this episode and turn it around,
Yeah.
I think she could succeed and go far.
Yes. Also, Gabby's very pretty.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Gabby-
anybody else feels that way, but I was looking at her on the camera and I was like, she's really pretty.
Yeah, she is really pretty. Yeah, I like her a lot. I just felt like in this episode today, she was just like getting on my nerves a little bit. But you know what? Everybody does. Everybody gets on my nerves.
Everybody gets on Paige's nerves, including me tonight, apparently.
For real. Of course. No. But anyways, so for Tribal, then we obviously saw that, Larsa's name was on the chopping block, and so was Jessica. And I instantly thought Jessica was going to go home because, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want to go back to what Veronica had said,
Yeah.
and when you were comparing Gabby to Larissa and doing more of what Larissa did by turning it around. Like, I love that Larissa turned it around onto Jessica
Yes.
and
Yeah.
had valid points. Now, granted, Elizabeth did help her with that. So, like I said, it's all about alliance. I think that Larissa and Elizabeth are really good together.
I think it was Elizabeth, basically, that
Yeah.
made this whole move happen.
It was.
Because without her, nothing would have happened. Larissa could have done what she, made her talks and stuff. But Elizabeth was the one that was like, hey, here's the thing. We would knock off, with Jessica, we would knock off her and B, and then we would knock off her and, I forget who the other person was. Carl. So she saw Jessica as this pillar of strength, which I think is,
I don't even think it was a pillar of strength. I think it was like Jessica was playing a really good social game right out of the get.
Yes, and get her out right now and then,
Yeah.
remake your alliances there.
Yeah.
But this is what I was saying, why I was disappointed that B, because again, I really did like her from the beginning. I was disappointed that she ended up in the, wrong side of the alliance, that she was part of this Jessica alliance that I feel like people might stick with and turn against.
Yeah, and B had said, she was making her vote based on the fact that they need strong players to keep going, not based on like the social stuff right now. they need the stronger players for the challenges.
Which is just a contradictory statement because Larissa already proved herself.
Yeah, that's what I agree
in a challenge that was just down to her and
But they don't see it that
Christian.
way. So there must be something.
That's what I'm saying. It must be something that we're not seeing.
Because they don't see it that way.
There's
they
nothing that I can pinpoint on Larissa to be like, oh, she's a weak person.
I agree.
I don't see it.
I think it's honestly, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, stereotypes at the beginning is how the other team instantly pinpointed her as the weakest female, and people are still seeing her that way. Even her own tribe mates. I really think that that's part of it.
But they didn't just pinpoint her. They also pinpointed Christian, too. But nobody's going after Christian. It's all about Larissa. Why?
I don't know. They said they wanted to go after a female, didn't they?
Or was that Goliath?
I don't know, but if I
yeah.
had a choice between Christian or Larissa on my team, I'm picking Larissa.
Well, for strength you're talking about? But I would pick Christian because he does a puzzle in 2 seconds.
He does a great puzzle. Keep both of them.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I like them both.
But anyways, Jess was way too confident at Tribal. We obviously saw. She was
it wasn't confident. It was cockiness.
Oh, yeah. We would, like, see her face. She's like, you need to check yourself if you're coming to Tribal and you haven't played the game. I'm like, did we see Jessica talking to anybody before Tribal? Was she playing? Was she playing the game or did she feel so safe?
She was playing a good social game. I'm not going to knock her social game because she already had B and Carl behind her. And apparently she had Davey too because Davey voted against Larissa for Jessica. So I think that she was playing a really good social game.
Right. But the thing is that she was saying, if you haven't strategized ahead of Tribal, then you need to check yourself. Well, clearly you didn't strategize enough then. So don't get cocky about it, you know?
I mean, she thought that she did. That's why she was cocky.
Don't ever get cocky at Tribal, you guys. No. You don't know what's happening.
No, I think it rubs people the wrong way.
Don't ever get cocky.
Even if somebody was like, I'm really voting for Larissa, I'm going to vote for Larissa, and then you say something like that, and I'm like, actually, I don't like you.
I don't like you anymore.
Now I'm going to vote for you.
Your opinion can change in a blink of an eye,
Agreed.
especially at Tribal.
Yes. Yeah, totally agreed. But also, yeah, she just didn't seem very warm or somebody that I wanted to stick around just by the attitude tonight. But, I mean, I don't know how she is as a person, but...
I don't know. I wish we got more backstory from her.
Yeah, I couldn't really find anything about what makes her the underdog and why she was like, you know, we kind of saw a lot of the people last episode telling us why they were in that situation, but I don't really remember hearing anything from Jess, and I looked it up and I couldn't find much. But let me know what if you guys have any news and gossip. Good segue there into our news and gossips column.
Yes, I agree. That's news and gossip. I'm excited about news and gossip.
You have some good stuff.
I did. I looked up a lot of stuff. Jessica, who obviously got voted out tonight, had to apologize for a lot of stuff that she used to say on social media because she used to drop the N-word a lot between 2013, 2015.
When she was 14.
Yes. Now, granted, I was about to say she was
2015.
Very young.
She was 14.
Well, because she's only 19. She's been lying about her age. Remember?
Oh yeah. But that's only at 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh my god.
Yeah.
2015. Okay.
Yes, she was in high school. Like, and I'm not making excuses for using the N-word, you guys, but she was very young.
Well,
I mean, we can't really hold it against her. We're not gonna like perjurize this poor teenager for using a word.
I totally agree with that because she was 14. We all said stupid stuff when we were 14. But when we were talking about it earlier, I was like in more of a mindset of, oh, you know, like not saying that that's right at all, but the fact that she was so young. And back then, like when I was in high school, using words like that was more of like, it was just more casual conversation. Like everybody used those type of words like as kind of like a joke, and it wasn't seen the way that it is now. So I understand that. But now hearing you saying that this was 2015, like when I was in high school, that was like 10 years ago, like so, or however many years ago. So it was that. The times were way different then, but now it's like that was still only a couple of years ago. I don't know. I mean, we all said dumb stuff like when we were that young too, of course. But yeah. Yeah.
And then Veronica wanted to bring up the whole NDA thing.
Yeah, there was I didn't see it when I checked just recently, but there was a viewer who commented on last week's episode mentioning, I remember briefly kind of mentioning something about a contestant who I believe might have been Alec, but don't 100% take my word for that because I'm not sure, broke the NDA for posting pictures of...
I thought you said it was
him
John.
and Kara.
Him and Kara.
The
no,
fighter.
it was Alec.
It was, we looked it up and
Yeah,
it was Alec.
Wait, who posted pictures of who?
So
Sorry.
Alec posted on social media a picture of him and Kara, which breaks the NDA of posting any kind of pictures on Survivor. So
Before the season's over?
yes. So what they're doing is they're holding his appearance stipend as punishment, and he won't appear at the reunion episode where, I didn't know this, each contestant gets $10,000 for just being on the show.
What?
Yeah.
I thought it was
No way.
Yeah.
for being on the reunion show or the show in general.
No, for the it didn't specify. It just said for being on the show.
Because I once read that obviously you're on TV, so everyone gets some form of compensation, but it goes down in like increments. So I think I read it somewhere where the winner obviously gets $1 million, the second place gets 100,000, and then it goes down to like third place gets like 60, and so on and so forth. Obviously, the first one voted out gets the least.
No, apparently everybody gets 10,000.
I might be wrong
Maybe
about
that's for
that.
the reunion show then or
Yeah.
something.
Don't take my word
Because
for
they
that.
don't
That
have
was
to
even
appear on
wrong.
that reunion show. What's going to make them want to be there?
It could
Money.
have just been his appearance stipend. That's what they were talking about in the article. So his appearance stipend
He
on the
just
reunion
posted
show,
a random picture of him and
$10,000, I don't
Kara?
know.
Like,
Yeah.
Was it of him like on Survivor?
I don't know
yeah,
you
that's
guys,
what I'm
but-
wondering. Like, if it was just him and Kara, who cares? Like, we obviously know you're not at the island anymore.
Yeah, at this point we know that.
I don't know.
I mean, he
That's
broke
weird.
the NDA, and you know Survivor and CBS got some really good lawyers. So
Yeah.
if they say he broke the NDA, he broke the NDA.
That's some good news and gossip.
Yeah.
We're going to move into a special segment we have really quick before we go into predictions. This is our Survivor MVP, and we thought we would do something fun this week. Do we have any? There we go.
Thank you.
Our blindside music.
Blindside music.
This was Veronica's idea, and we love it. It's super
It's a
cute.
great segment. I love
So why
it.
don't you tell them what the idea is?
Yeah.
Because it was yours.
Yeah, definitely. So every week, maybe we will continue this. We choose a standout MVP player, someone who really caught our eye, made a really good move, whether it be strategic or social or what have you not. Maybe someone that just really stood out to you this episode. And we do our vote. We put on the music. We make it very.
Have them here.
And we have them ready to go.
Paige will be our Jeff Probst.
Yes, I'm Jeff Probst. All right, once your fire is out, no. Fire represents your life. Okay, vote number 1.
For MVP of
And
the
you
episode.
guys in the live chat, let us know what your MVPs are too.
Yes.
Okay, and then you can guess who voted for who. Davey. All right. Vote number 1 is for Davey, MVP. Vote number 2, Larissa. Okay.
That looks like a real vote that came out of that urn tonight.
Yeah, it did.
Writing.
All right, and vote number 3, Elizabeth.
Oh.
All right. So these are our 3 MVPs. So I don't know if you guys have had time to let us know who you think voted for who, but does anybody say who their MVPs are? Do we have any
let's see.
overlap here?
Royal 15 is saying, I think Elizabeth or Larissa, meaning maybe that's their MVP. James
Okay.
is saying Larissa made the big move to get focus off of her, get out Jessica. That's also a really good moment. Desiree said, Davey is mine.
Okay, so we got some. So,
So
people
everyone-
are agreeing.
We got some people
with our
agreeing.
choices.
Yes, yes.
So who voted
Awesome.
for who?
I voted for Larissa.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go with James Mirror Domains. He said Larissa made the big move to get focus off her and get out Jessica.
Okay.
I completely agree, which is why I voted for Larissa.
I voted for Davey.
Okay.
I thought it was you.
I voted for Davey. In looking back on the episode now and hearing our discussions, I think Larissa, obviously, to your point, Timothy, did make a really big move. But I think in the moment, I was very impressed with Davey and, how he's working hard at camp and how he found the idol without even looking. Granted, that sometimes happens, but I think it was fun for me just because when someone kind of genuine at that moment finds an idol, you're happy for them. And so
Yeah.
I was happy for him in that moment.
And his reaction was so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I voted for Elizabeth because I feel like Larissa would have for sure been gone tonight if it wasn't for Elizabeth going to her and making this pitch and making it all happen. So I think we might see some good stuff out of Elizabeth this season.
Agreed.
Any other predictions from you guys?
People in the chat are wondering when we're doing our fantasy draft, so maybe you want to clarify.
Okay, yeah, so I think we're going to be, so next week I don't think we're going to be here. So when are we doing? Because I was going to say next week we'll have 18.
Yes.
So we'll be able to divide it by 3 pretty good.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
Is it possible to still create it next week and maybe put it on Twitter?
Yeah,
or
we can
something?
tweet it out.
We could also hold off until there's 15 and then
Okay.
have 5 each so that we can, 5 each seems like a pretty good number to start
Okay,
with.
let's do that then.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
At 15?
Yeah, if you guys think that you really want us to have the draft next weekend or something, let us know and we can put it on Twitter. But otherwise, let's go at 15 and we'll
Yeah.
each have five solid players.
Yeah.
So in a couple weeks we'll be doing the draft. And like we said, we're not going to be on next week, but The following week, we'll talk a little bit about the episode last week just to get into the new episode, and then make sure to tweet us.
Watch
and let
it be
us
like
know.
a super intense episode.
Yeah, for
Probably.
real. Please don't.
Probably.
God, it always happens. But you guys, that was season 37, episode 2. Any final thoughts that you want to bring up before we?
I'm excited about the season. Veronica, thank you for joining our
Yay,
panel. I didn't
I'm
get to see it last
so
episode.
happy to be
But I'm
here.
still celebrating
Yay.
the
I'm
fact
so
that
happy
you're
to be here with you too.
Yeah.
It's been great
I
so
mean,
far.
she comes and joins the panel and has this freaking awesome
I
idea
mean,
right
it's
away.
a great idea.
It was really just to play more Survivor music, guys.
Yeah, right?
True. Maybe we can get like a little urn or something that makes it even more
Oh, make it
authentic.
so decorative. I love it.
Do you want to decorate it?
Yeah.
Get
Oh,
it from
yes.
like Home Goods.
Yes. I got you.
I
We're
like
going
it.
to Michael's.
Yeah, right? It's right down the street. I like it. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Paige Bonanno. You guys can find me all over social media at Paige Bonanno.
And again, I'm Veronica Valencia. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at it's me, Veronica_V.
And I am Timothy Michael. So excited to be back, you guys. You can find me everywhere at I am Timothy Mike.
Thanks so much for joining, you guys. We will see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV. Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners. or
Our
principals.
founder, Keven Undergaro,